Welcome back to the English Maps. Today, we're talking about something powerful and honestly, life-changing. Not speaking English, but thinking in English. Jessica, this idea sounds simple, but neuroscience says it actually reshapes your brain.
Exactly. Most learners believe fluency comes from memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. But real transformation begins when your brain stops translating and starts processing ideas directly in English.
Let's paint a picture. Imagine someone wants to say, I need to buy groceries. If they first think in their native language, translate it, check grammar, and then speak, that's a four-step process.
And that delay creates hesitation, anxiety, and that familiar feeling of being stuck. But when you think directly in English, the brain builds a faster neural pathway. It's like switching from a dirt road to a highway.
Right. Neuroscientists call this automaticity, when a skill becomes so natural that the brain no longer treats it as a foreign task. The same thing happens when you learn to drive a car. At first, every movement is conscious. Later, it's effortless.
Language works the same way. If you keep translating, your brain believes English is an external problem to solve. But when you think in English, the brain begins to accept it as a native operating system.
Let's talk about what's actually happening inside the brain. When you translate constantly, you activate the analytical regions, especially those responsible for problem solving.
But when you think directly in English, you activate areas linked to emotion, memory, and real communication. That's why fluent speakers don't just speak faster, they feel more natural.
That's fascinating because fluency isn't just linguistic, it's psychological.
Exactly. Thinking in English reduces what psychologists call cognitive load, the mental effort required to process information. When that load drops, confidence rises.
And confidence changes behavior. People participate more, speak more, and stop fearing mistakes.
Let me give a simple example. Imagine you see a cup of coffee. A translating learner thinks, coffee, what is the word? Okay, coffee. But someone thinking in English simply experiences, this coffee smells great.
So instead of labeling reality, they're living it in English.
Exactly. Language becomes experience, not translation.
Here's something many people don't realize. Children don't learn language by translating. They connect words directly to meaning, images, and actions.
Yes, a child hears run while running. No dictionary, no grammar explanation. The brain links sound to experience. Adults can relearn language the same way.
Which means fluency is less about studying harder and more about training smarter.
Absolutely. When learners shift to thinking in English, they're essentially retraining the brain to build those direct associations again.
Let's address a common fear. Many people say, but I don't know enough words to think in English.
That's normal. Thinking in English doesn't mean using complex vocabulary. In fact, it should start extremely simple.
Like narrating your life?
Exactly. You wake up and think, I'm opening the window. I'm making breakfast. I'm late. These small mental sentences are powerful brain exercises.
It's like going to the gym, but for neural connections.
Yes, each time you describe something directly in English, you strengthen what neuroscientists call language pathways.
Another interesting benefit is speed of decision-making. Research shows people using a second language sometimes make more rational choices because they process information more deliberately.
That's true. Thinking in another language creates a slight emotional distance, which can improve clarity. Many bilingual individuals report feeling calmer and more focused when thinking in their second language.
So thinking in English doesn't just help you speak better, it can actually shape how you think and solve problems.
Exactly. Language influences cognition. The structure of English encourages clarity, directness, and sequence. Subject, verb, action. That pattern trains the brain to organize thoughts more linearly.
Let's talk about confidence again. Why does thinking in English reduce fear?
Because translation creates doubt. When you translate, you're constantly asking yourself, is this correct? Is this wrong? But when you think directly, there's no intermediate judgment step.
So you move from perfectionism to communication.
Yes, and communication is the real goal of language.
Here's a practical exercise our listeners can try today. Pick one daily activity, just one, and experience it entirely in English.
For example, during your commute, describe everything mentally. The bus is crowded. The sky looks gray. I need to answer that email.
No translating allowed.
Exactly. If you don't know a word, simplify. Instead of exhausted, just think very tired. Simplicity builds fluency faster than complexity.
So here's today's takeaway. Fluency doesn't begin with your mouth, it begins with your mind.
Train your brain to experience English, not translate it. Start small. Stay consistent. Let the language become part of your thoughts.
Because the moment you think in English, you're no longer chasing fluency.
You're already on your way to living it.
Thanks for listening to Mindcast. If today's conversation made you think differently, try one moment of your day in English.